Hi, today I'm going to replace the strut rod bushings off my 66 Corvair, and I've just purchased the Moog K1694 improved design bushings that they share with the Chevy 2 model also. Okay, physically there's some differences here. One, the rubber is a lot stiffer. The sleeve actually captures the washer and it becomes like two pieces, and the whole assembly, when it collapsed, when the sleeves are in contact with each other, is 2.2 inches. Over here, the GM standard design has one side with a sleeve, the other that slips over the other side, and then two large washers. But when this is all in contact, it's 1.9 inch. So right away, we're going to have less adjustment on this threaded rod because the bushing is just wider. This is a 11/16 by 18 pitch threaded rod, which means that the 0.3 inch that you have difference is going to work out to almost 5.5 threads, as a matter of fact. So if you want to keep your alignment where it is, the easiest way is to back off these nuts 2 3/4 turns, and once you tighten the other side up, it should put the middle section exactly where it was with the older bushings. That's in theory. In practice, the forward side of those bushings, this fits in the car like this, and this side here of the bushing is always crushed, because when the car brakes, the rod wants to push through the frame. And on the other way, well, there's never any strain pulling the wheel forward. So your alignment is never, your bushings are never centered. If you have a look at how your bushings are here, you're going to notice a small distance in the front and a big distance in the back of the rubber, the way the rubber sits. So my theory is to go back 2 3/4 inches on the nut, put everything back together. Would work if your car had brand new bushings and was just aligned with the old bushings. In practice, it all depends. Last time it was aligned, if your bushings were collapsed, as they always are, well, then your alignment's not going to work as well as it should. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my threads half and half, with the same amount of play on each side once it's tight, and go to the alignment shop. Okay, so let's have a look at the actual job. First, we remove the wheel. Half this breaks, but not everybody does, but it makes no difference for what I want to show. Okay, over here, you see I have a sway bar that goes underneath here. Well, you don't have that either, probably, because that's an aftermarket sway bar. But anyways, to get the strut rod out, you have two bolts. They are 3/8 fine thread. So the nuts, you need a 9/16 wrench. And these nuts, be careful with them because they're fine thread, and 9/16 and fine thread is kind of hard to find. So if they're in good shape, keep them securely and reuse them. Okay, so you can loosen those. Don't take them out all the way, because when you're going to let me fix that a little bit. Well, that didn't work so good, did it? Okay. I'm back. I'm a real pro here. Okay, so you want to remove that. That's a 1 inch box, or actually a wrench works better, a big 1 inch wrench. But once you're going to loosen that up, if you take out these guys, the rod's going to want to turn, so that's not going to work. So you can loosen them, or you could do them later. Remove this. And then remove that. You got your washer and your rubber. And then this pulls out here, and this pulls out like that. And what I was talking about earlier is, if you look how that is, now this is, the frame is pushed right up to here, so everything's moved ahead, you know. So, and if the car was aligned with this much rubber in the front and a whole bunch more at the back, because the other part isn't collapsed at all, then your alignment is not going to be any good if you just, in theory, just back up this nut 2 3/4 turn. Anyways, so the idea is do it as best you can and then have the car aligned. All right. Thank you for watching. Hey, the car is back for alignment and it went well. They just needed a bit of adjustment. I had enough threads on both rods to achieve the proper caster, which I put at 3 positive for because that's what's recommended for street use. Not by actually 3s in 66 and 2s in 65. So, but from what I read on the internet, 3 is the way to go. And the one thing I noticed right away is I had loosened those bushings. My old ones were pretty bad. So once in a while when I hit the brakes, the car would pull to one side because the rod would compress. It was loose at the bushing. Now that's all gone. The braking is nice and firm and very straight. And also when I tightened it all together, you could see that this whole setup is a lot sturdier and more solid than the old way. When you jack the car up, you could see the bushing, the table drops down, and you could see that the bushing doesn't get all deformed like the old one did. I think I forgot to mention, but when you do the strut rod removal, you gotta put a jack stand under the shock base and lower the car on it, because and that compresses the suspension about halfway, and the rod will come out a lot easier. If you don't support the lower table, and there's going to be too much angle and twist on the rod, and it's not going to come out. You won't be able to put it back in, basically, because it's going to want to pop up. All right, so overall, I like the product, and I recommend it. All right, bye.